Stan Jabalisco here from the Black Holes of South Dakota, United States of Advertising, with take 4 in the Downsizing Without Moving series. Here I would emphasize conservation, and the noble idea of saving the planet. Oh, those buzz phrases, don't you just love them? Well, I just switched, as I told you, to a gas stove from a bunch of electric space heaters, thereby saving myself a considerable amount of money, I would hope. We'll wait now until the bills come, and then I'll find out. I'll get a better clue on that. But every British thermal unit that I burn as gas rather than coal, that is to say, instead of using electricity, which is derived from coal here in the black holes, I use natural gas. I save a little bit of pollution because every British thermal unit that gets used by the end consumer is a British thermal unit that has to be generated by burning coal somewhere. You don't think of it that way. You don't think of running your space heater for 5 minutes as contributing to carbon pollution of the planet, but in fact it does. It's just a little zero, though. Just a little zero, right? Doesn't matter, does it? One person conserving and saving a little bit of coal burning, that isn't going to make any difference to the planet, is it? Well, technically, I suppose if you just consider that all by itself, the answer would be no, it won't make any difference. Well, I just did a little sequence video about adding up an infinite number of zeros, and showed that no matter how many zeros you add up, you always get zero. So therefore, even even infinitely many zeros added together still equals zero. So you might think, well, if what I do doesn't make any difference, then what a million people do doesn't going to make any difference either, right? Well, it doesn't work quite that way in the real world, in the practical world. A lot of little nothings can add up to something. Now, as for saving the planet, I don't know about all of this. There are an increasing number of people and a finite amount of resources in this planet. It only stands to reason that as we have more and more and more people with the same amount of resources, each person is going to get less and less and less. I've talked about population control a little bit before, and it's a controversial issue, and I'm not going to go there now. What I would like to point out, though, is that what I'm doing is saving me money and contributing just a little zero to the noble notion of saving the planet. But it's not a mathematical zero. It's a practical zero. And as our president pointed out before he was elected, he was talking about painting your roof white or keeping your tires properly inflated and all of these little things that you could do to conserve energy. And his opponent, I believe it was John McCain, laughed at him and said, oh yeah, we're going to keep our tires inflated, right? And that's going to save the planet. Well, in a mathematical sense, no. In a real world sense, maybe yes. And that's one aspect of going green in which you can actually save money. You're not some weirdo-looking liberal lefty who's out there in dreamland, never land, talking about saving the planet. But he's rich, right? Or she is rich and can upfront the money and all of this. Well, I'm talking about going green and saving money, and one of the easiest ways you can do that is to conserve. Now, if I have the gall, the next step in my conservation quest is to get rid of that gas-guzzling old truck. It's too much vehicle for me anyway. Too much for me morally, perhaps, and too much for me physically anymore as I get older and older and older. And tireder and tireder and tireder. But not too tired to yammer into YouTube about conservation and talk about going green and saving money and downsizing while staying right in your own venerable house. Stan Gibilisco signing off. Until next time, so long.